Yo, what's going on? What's going on? We told y'all we be back, and we back real quick for you. OG, Young Bull in the building. Young Bull, how you feeling, boy?
After these game 7 games, I'm feeling great.
It was wild. The game sevens, they lived up to the hype. We had two really, really good game sevens in
Yes,
the
sir.
East. Um, Everything is locked up now, so we're gonna give y'all our reactions to the game seven, and then tune in with us to get our predictions for the conference finals. We will have that with you basically at the same time as this drops. But for this segment, we're gonna talk about our game sevens. Young Bull, we're gonna jump right into it. We're gonna start on with the first game seven, which was Brooklyn versus the Bucks. The Bucks shutting me up, stepping up and doing what they was supposed to do. They come through, they win in game seven in overtime. It looked like they was gonna win in regulation. KD did what KD does and brought the Nets to overtime, but couldn't get it done in overtime, and the Bucks advanced to the Eastern Conference Finals. They've been here before. They lost to the Raptors here last time they were here, but they've been here before recently. Young Bull, how you feel? How you feel? I know you feeling that they're who you pick. So I know you're feeling good. But
Sir, this game was one of the best games I've seen in a long time. And whew, a lot happened. First of all, that Kevin Durant shot was crazy. But he has like a size 30 and he put his foot on the line and he couldn't get it to end the game.
Yeah.
I know that one hurt. When I first initially saw it, I thought it was a 3 and my heart dropped, man. But
crazy.
The thing is, I really feel like the Bucks were fucking up a lot in the end. And they made a lot. They were doing really good in the fourth quarter, but the last minute of the game, they made a lot of crucial decisions that I feel like they didn't deserve to win at the end, but the Nets they couldn't score after that Kevin Durant 3-pointer where it was 109, 105.
Yeah.
They couldn't score. But I'm saying Giannis had 38 points. He was dominant. He was cooking. And he had 38 points at the time of the last minute of the game. And they refused to give him the ball after that. You had Jrue Holiday. He was dribbling the ball top of the key, holding the ball for the whole possession, and then came down and took a stupid shot. I don't know why they refused to give Giannis the ball the last few plays, but that really irked me. And then they finally give him the ball with 1 second left, and he has to do some post fadeaway shot. I'm like, what is this? At that point, give it to Chris Middleton at that point. Like,
yeah,
you should have been giving him the ball before. But the Nets could not, they scored 2 points in overtime. The first 2 points, and then didn't score after that. It's unacceptable. And Brook Lopez, the one play, pulled a J.R. Smith. There was 2.5 seconds on the shot clock. They were throwing the ball in, and he thought they had a 24-second shot clock. He gets the ball in the corner and tries to dribble and pass the ball and tries to make a play, and the buzzer goes off, and his face was like, huh?
Yeah.
So bad coaching at the end of the game. Brook Lopez pulls a J.R. Smith. And what happened? I told you what was going to happen. James Harden was the deciding factor because how many threes did he miss at the end of the game wide open? Him and Joe Harris need to just, oh boy, they need to go on take a trip to Miami like Odell did on that boat.
Yeah.
But
listen, it was rough out there for the Nets as far as their shooters go. To me, the entire series, we have to document that Joe Harris shrunk in the moment. I mean, we're talking about one of the best shooters in the NBA throughout the season as far as makes and percentage.
Yeah.
He was just elite this season shooting the three. And then to get into this moment and basically be, not even basically, to be a non-factor at all for your team is ridiculous. He made and the thing that really irked me with it, like, you can have bad games. You can have a bad series, but the moments where they needed him to make a three, if he just made one of those, it changes the series. He couldn't even make the three in those moments. This series is definitely a major indictment on Joe Harris. He shrunk in the moment. The lights killed him. But you know me, I like to give credit first. I just had to go off on that point. And listen, I've been a Bucks detractor, and I'll eat my crow. Hat tip to the Bucks. You know what I'm saying? Hat tip to the Bucks. They did their thing. Listen, they stepped up and they showed me something that they haven't showed me. They showed an ability to be clutch. They showed an ability to break through the adversity. They showed me the ability to find a way to win a game that is tough, especially after KD forced overtime. Even though that was supposed to be a game winner, it still pushed an overtime on the road. And a road team doesn't usually win overtime anywhere, let alone a game 7. And granted, the Nets only scored 2 points, but the Bucks didn't score until there was 2 minutes left. Exactly. So the fact that they were able to fight through that adversity, and even though they weren't scoring, keep the Nets from scoring, keep that score close enough that they could make that final push. I got to take my hats off to them. The worst thing about this win for the Bucks is it saved Mike Budenholzer because he's just a crap coach, like, period. At the end of the day, the Bucks won in spite of Mike Budenholzer, not because of Mike Budenholzer. They overcame their own coach. He was terrible down the stretch. And like you were saying, he didn't put the ball in Giannis's hands down the stretch. He was just terrible. Like, he was just terrible. And that is going to be the biggest monkey on the Bucks' backs going forward, because as a team, they're playing the best team ball left in the playoffs. And that's no dig at the Suns, because the Suns are playing really good team ball as well. But the Bucks are just, they just have the chemistry flowing right now as a team. Like, on the court, their synergy is up. They're playing with high energy. They're getting the balls in their spots, and their players are all stepping up. The one thing I will to my own horn is, I said, if Giannis is going to play like he did in game 6, he's going to get what he wants, and he did. Shout out to Giannis. He played the same type of ball. He got down there in the paint. He bullied Blake Griffin. He bullied KD. He bullied Jeff Green. Whoever they put on, he bullied them. And he got the buckets he needed to get. The Bucks, listen, they earned the win. Like, I'm from the show me state. Show me, and they showed me this series. They showed me that they can earn it. They showed that they can fight. And whether they win, lose, or draw the next series, they got my respect. They got my respect for what they have done in this postseason. They have beaten some of their demons. A lot of the things that I was saying they don't do well, they found a way to get over. And I got to give credit where credit's due. I'm never going to be that guy that is going to hate on somebody just to hate on them. Like, if you show me work, I got to respect the work. And the Bucks did what they had to do. As far as the Nets go, once again, listen, James Harden's on half a leg. I don't want to kill him too much, but once again, James Harden doesn't come through in the playoffs. And listen, give me Kyrie in the playoffs every day of the week over James Harden. I'd rather have, if I'm the Nets, I'd rather have had Kyrie healthy, or half of Kyrie than half of James Harden, just because Kyrie got that killer in him. He could go 0 for 15, but hit the game-winning shot. And I'd rather have that guy. He's not going to miss the wide open threes that James Harden missed in overtime. Kyrie would have made those, and those would have been backbreakers for the Bucks. The Nets missed Kyrie, period. They just did. They missed his clutch. They missed his killer. They missed his, I can go get a bucket against anybody at any time. They needed it, and it wasn't there. James Harden was on half a leg. Like I said, I'm not going to kill him, but he couldn't give them that punch, that one punch that they just need. And the same thing I'm saying about Joe Harris. It's not that he couldn't score 30, but at certain moments where you just need to get a bucket. Like, you can have 6 points that game, but in that moment, that 2 points means everything. And they just couldn't get it. If it wasn't KD, they just couldn't get it. KD was burnt. He left it all out there. 58 minutes, 48 points. I mean, like, the man did what he could do. The last shot was stupid. It was a dumb shot.
I know.
I just think he was out of gas. I just think he was like, I can't. I'm done.
He had 8 seconds on the clock. He could have. Just. He didn't want to see a double overtime though. He said, "I need to end this shit now."
Yep. He was like, "I'm gonna win or lose right here. I'm not playing for a tie. I can't do another one."
Oh yeah, that's so good. But also, I thought the Bucks were done once it went to OT, because
Me too.
When it went into OT, the Bucks had their heads down and they were like stunned. And I thought that they were then the Nets scored the first points in OT. I thought it was over. I say this is I'm considering this a choke by the Nets, not only because of I know they have their injuries and all this, but it's not about how much it's not about how often you score, it's about when you score, and what they didn't score when they needed to score, and the Bucks did, and the Bucks had so many fuck ups down the line that the Nets should have executed. Also, there is one thing as I have an issue with about Giannis. The only thing that I can say bad about him the entire night. When PJ Tucker got fouled out the game, Giannis should have been defending KD. Yep. I know that they had an overtime game that he played almost every single minute and he was dripping sweat since the first quarter and he was dying. But at that point in the game, when PJ Tucker comes out, I thought the game was over. I mean, you got to step up if you're Giannis, and if you're Giannis, you got to step up there. That kind of annoyed me, but it paid off. Yeah. And fucking Bucks and 7, like I've been saying, bro. You guys thought I was crazy.
Listen,
I told you.
You too. You called it. You called it. Shout outs to your prediction. I made my pick based off of what I had saw in the Nets, and I at least thought Kyrie would be there. Had I known James Harden would have been there on half a leg, I would have picked different. But listen, shout out to you. Shout out to the Bucks. Like, I mean, they stepped up. They did what they had to do.
It's really weird.
And listen, they, like I said, if you're going to get it, this is the year to get it. And they kept themselves in the contention to get it. The one little coup, like, I don't even want to say coups. The one little thing I want to say about the Nets, though, this is bad. Like, to me, this is bad for the league that the Nets lost now, because it forces them to make changes that are only going to amplify a team that's already good. Yeah. You're going to see an angry Laker team next year, and you're going to see an angry Nets team last year. And that's just like, for the league, as like I'm a Miami Heat fan, obviously. I know, watching my team, what I felt like in 2010 when we lost to the Mavericks, and I know what I felt like in 2011 watching us all season, and then watching us massacre the Thunder in 5 to win the finals. And listen, the Nets have been exposed as far as all their weaknesses. They're all out there to see. Any good GM can see what the weaknesses are, and should be easy to fill. You're the Nets. You have great chance to contend. You have the ability to get players that are going to come play for you for the lower than they should, because they want to win. And I just think that next year the Nets are they're gonna come back. They're gonna be back. They're gonna be back, and they're gonna be back angry, which you don't want to see. But one thing about the Nets, can they stay healthy? All 3 of their star players have been injury prone, and that's going to be the determining factor on if they can ever be the dominant type of dynasty that their talent says they should be.
Yep.
But that's that series. So the Bucks advance to the Eastern Conference Finals, and then we have the other Game 7. Let's get into that now. Just happened tonight. We are recording late night.
Just ended about an hour ago.
Yeah, it's after midnight. We coming in fresh, hot after this.
Yep.
Hawks Sixers game, and the Hawks, the Atlanta.
Say that out. Say that again. Say it again.
The Atlanta Hawks are in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yes.
They came back, so to say. The Sixers had a decent lead late in the fourth. Nothing over that couldn't be overcome, but they had a decent lead in the fourth, late in the fourth, that you think the home team would hold on to. But the Hawks come back, and like we were just talking about with the Nets, where the Nets didn't make timely buckets, Trae Young was 2 of 17 going into the fourth quarter. And it wasn't until like 5-minute mark that he actually turned on.
Yeah.
But he turned on. And listen, the Hawks stepped up and won the game. YungBull, let's get your full reaction first.
Well, I feel bad for picking the Sixers now because, but like I said, I picked the Sixers, but I was always rooting for the Hawks. I hope they lost. I mean, I just didn't think the Sixers were a worse team than I thought they were, because I already thought they were a bad team and I thought they were frauds, and apparently they're frauds. But Ben Simmons deserves almost 100,000% of the blame. I think Ben Simmons should be traded. Doc Rivers needs to be fired. And here's why, because Ben Simmons looks like Lonzo Ball in his rookie year, where he just wants to pass the ball. He doesn't shoot, and he's not aggressive at all. He does not attack. And he had a wide open dunk at the end of the game. I know you saw it, and he passed the ball off, and then they missed the shot. Like, I don't understand what he's even doing. He looks like he's lost out there. And Embiid was finally actually, I mean, I'm not gonna say he was clutch, but he finally was doing stuff in the second half.
Yep.
And Doc Rivers is the most overrated coach, because you cannot have Trae Young.
That man living off 2008. That man is living off 2008.
And the Celtics won him that. He didn't win the Celtics that. The Celtics won him that.
Yeah.
So you can't have Trae Young go 5 for 23. He went 5 for 23. They've been praying for him to play like this the entire series. He finally has a game like this, and you're the home team, first seed. And what happens? You can't even execute. You let Kevin Huerter score 27 points on you. I mean, I don't know if this is Doc's fault. I don't know whose fault this is, but this team needs to get blown up. They need to blow up this team. The process is over, because this is an embarrassment. You can't have Trae playing like that bad, and then you're still fighting for your life at home, up by 4 points only. And eventually Trae was going to turn it on. I mean, eventually it was going to happen. And I knew it was over at that point. It's just, oh boy, man.
Listen, my initial and first reaction to this game is the process failed.
Yeah.
The process failed, and the process is over. I said it on the last pod that the whole process was to get to this version of the Sixers, the number 1 seed Sixers. This team was the final product of the process to me. Like we talked about, you brought in Jimmy Butler, you got rid of Jimmy Butler. You brought in Al Horford, you got rid of Al Horford. You made your moves to create this team. So this is the final version of the process, and you can't get out the second round against a 4th seed Hawks team that isn't even supposed to be here as far as longevity. Like, nobody expected this team to be in the Eastern Conference Finals, and nobody would have blamed this team if they lost this series at all. This team is definitely overperforming right now. But before usually I like to talk about the positive, but I can't even get to the Hawks first. I have to get to the Sixers first.
Yeah.
Like, the process has failed, and everything needs to be blown up. It needs to be completely torn apart. I'm an Eagles fan, so I know what it's like as far as Philly fandom. Ben Simmons, he's done. He can't be in Philly anymore. If they don't do anything else, Ben Simmons has to go.
Destroyed his value.
Like you said, he passed up on that dunk, and that play right there was the story of Ben Simmons throughout this series, and is the story of Ben Simmons in Philly. He is mentally defeated. He can't, much like, and as an Eagles fan, I can say this, much like Carson Wentz last year. You saw Carson Wentz last year. He took a nosedive as a quarterback because mentally he was defeated. The city, the fanhood, the pressure, it defeated him, and he broke. And that's what happened to Ben Simmons in this series. He finally broke. The pressure, the fanhood, all the fandom in Philly, it broke him, and he's just done. He's just done in Philly. If Ben Simmons is ever going to have a career that can be respectable, he has to be out of Philly. He needs to go somewhere like Dallas Mavericks, or like where the fans are more embracing of the superstar and they more hug you when you're doing bad than cut your head off, because he can't deal with it. He is not a person that can deal with pressure. He cracks under pressure, clearly. Like you said, that play there, it was a wide open dunk. You're 6'10", you're a big physical specimen of a person. Slam the damn ball, put your mark on the game, make your statement. He's a one-way player. He plays defense, and that's it. He does nothing else for you. He doesn't even rebound at an elite level at 6'10", and with his athletic ability. He's not even Russell Westbrook is a better rebounder than him. That's bad. I'm just done with Ben Simmons. You're the
Imagine when
number
that
one
point guard
overall
comes
pick,
in.
and you can't do anything for me but defend. I'd rather have James Posey because at least James Posey can make the three-pointer and defend at your level of defense. Like, you don't provide your team with anything at this point other than defense. You should be a rotational player that comes in for defense, not a starting point guard. He's just done. Doc Rivers been living off of 2008 forever. He has to get a lot of blame for this. You cannot allow your team to lose to this team in a game 7 at home. Everything is in your favor. You have the most talent. You have the runner-up MVP. You have the runner-up defensive player of the year. You have one of the best three-point shooters in the league. You have a great swing four in Tobias Harris, and you could not get your team to win this game. Doc Rivers, you gotta go. Ben Simmons, you gotta go. If I'm Daryl Morey, listen, hey, I just got this team last year. I needed to see 1 year. This is what I saw. Okay, goodbye, everybody. Like, the only person I would consider keeping is Embiid, but at this point, like, they just need to start over. They just need to start over. This Sixers team is done. They're done. I mean, respect for how they got here. They built through the draft. They didn't try to buy their team. I respect the process of what they did, but it failed. It didn't work. And you can't hang on to it. You got to move on. You gotta realize, you gotta take your L. You gotta realize, listen, this ain't it. Much like I said about the Jazz, while your assets still have value, you need to do something with them. Otherwise, you'll be looking at yourself in 2 to 3 years and you'll be starting a whole nother process.
And Ben Simmons lost all his value. Now he has zero value. He has the same value as a role player. And
you're only going to get a draft pick for Ben Simmons at this point if you're lucky. You might have to hold on to him because it's like, do you throw him away for nothing? It's just, they're just in a bad place, man. They're in a bad place. The Sixers are in a bad place. More than any other team, except maybe the Clippers, the Sixers needed this playoffs. The fact that they failed, like, it's just, where do you go from here? There's no clear path of how you turn this around. There's no way you can say, well, if they just add this piece, if they just do this, I just don't see it. I just don't see it. The best thing they could do is add a bucket getter, much like I said about the Heat. They need a pure bucket getter, a guy that can say, give me the ball, I'm gonna get a bucket. I might not play defense, I might not, but give me the ball, I'm gonna get a bucket. But the thing with them is, you had Jimmy Butler, who can be that guy sometimes, and on that team he would have fit perfectly for that moment, and you gave him up for Tobias Harris, who's not your bucket getter, who's more of a I play through the team type of guy. I just don't know where they go from here. I just really don't know where they go from here. If I'm Daryl Morey, I'm starting over. I'm going to take this approach as, I just got this team last year. I gave them a year to show me what they had. They didn't show me anything that I liked. I'm going to start from top to bottom.
Yep.
But that's our Game 7 reactions. They're locked in. The conference finals are locked in. In the West, as we talked about, we have the Clippers versus the Suns. That game played tonight. We will be talking about that series and that game very shortly. And then in the East, we have the Atlanta Hawks. The Atlanta
Bucks.
Hawks in the Milwaukee Bucks.
I can't even say that shit out loud. The Hawks.
This is why they play the games, bro. This is why they play the games.
Said this year was weird.
Weird as hell. Everybody want to talk about the bubble. This is crazy. The Atlanta Hawks and the Milwaukee Bucks are your Eastern Conference Finals participants.
Oh, boy.
We will be right back with you with our prediction pod for the conference finals. Tune in for that. As always, like, subscribe, and comment. We appreciate y'all tuning in. Let us know how y'all feel. We are both clearly out on the Sixers. I know there's some Philly fans out there, and as a Philly fan, I know the passion is out there. So let us know if you think we're wrong. If you think there's just a couple moves that the Sixers need to make, let us know. We can talk about it. We'll discuss it. If we see something that somebody says that sounds like a good move, we'll discuss it and see if we think that it could work out. But get with us, y'all. Like, subscribe, comment. We're gonna be right back with y'all for our prediction pod as far as the conference finals go. But these NBA playoffs are crazy, man. Gotta love it.
Facts.